What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. We have returned from our off-season hiatus, post-free agency, post-NFL draft, and that means it is that time, way too early 2025 fantasy football mock draft season. That is what we're going to do today and in future videos as well. So let's hit it. We're going to do this on FantasyPros, a 12-team full PPR mock. We're going to draft 6th overall, right smack dab in the middle of it all, so we can kind of see how things go. The roster, 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, a flex, and then 5 bench spots. But that's pretty much it. So let's kick it off. And while we wait, a quick reminder, if you guys enjoy, hit that like button, subscribe, give us a follow on X, Twitter, at All Day Pigskin to continue interacting with us there. Let us hear it in the comment section, your thoughts, along with any questions you guys might have. We'll do our best to answer them all. But with that being said, let us kick this thing off and let us dissect this draft board, because I'm very curious to see what we have here. So we actually have Saquon Barkley at 101. What you're typically going to see is, the year following a player's basically best finish, like at the respective position. So in this case, Barkley, Jamar Chase, pretty good, damn good chance that they're going to be going 101. This year, Barkley or Jamar Chase, depending on your flavor of roster building, running back, wide receiver, etc. So I don't really fault the pick. I am somebody that prefers the running back position, a little bit old school in the first round, at least, dual threat running backs. So again, I endorse the Barkley pick. If you wanted to go Chase, I get it as well. Malik Neighbors, man, the tremendous rookie, now a sophomore at the 103. Really, really high on him. Bijan Robinson, 104. Puka Nacua, 105. With Puka, Devontae Adams is there. I think he will be a little bit more involved than Cooper Kupp was last year. I think he's got a little bit more left in the tank. So I wouldn't quite draft Puka this high, but look, I get it. Matthew Stafford loves him. He's young, he's healthy, all those things. So definitely. But looking at the names that are still left available here, boy, oh boy, Justin Jefferson is still there. I know he kind of had a down year last year, but it was a grouping of things, quarterback situation, no more Kirk Cousins, being banged up a little bit. So I do think that Justin Jefferson will bounce back. He is very, very tempting here. If I'm going wide receiver, I'm probably going to go with Jefferson here over CeeDee Lamb, over Amon-Ra, over Nico Collins. Now, I do realize that in the second round, those guys are probably going to be gone. If we're lucky, Drake London or A.J. Brown will be there. I'm looking at the running back position. If I was going running back, I'd probably go Gibbs. I do think A.J. is a NFL draft winner in regards to the Miami Dolphins not really adding too much competition there. Genty is an interesting rookie who, some people might have ranked pretty highly right around this spot. I get it. And then we get to the likes of McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, Bucky Irving. I think one of those guys might be available to us in the second round. So let's take a chance on it. I'm going to go with Justin Jefferson here. I want to see how this thing pans out. And honestly, I'm not going to spend too much time worrying about it, because honestly, at the end of the day, it's early May. We're doing a mock draft that is going to look completely different come, even June, July, obviously August and September. So let's just have some fun with it, right? And the beauty of this is honestly my first live look at a lot of these rankings. Obviously, I've kind of got an internal thought process about certain teams and situations, but it's always fun to compare it to what these websites have their rankings currently. So after our Justin Jefferson pick, you see CeeDee Lamb, Jahmyr Gibbs, the guys we mentioned, Amon-Ra, Nico, Breece Hall. I think this is way too early for Breece Hall. Honestly, with the Breece Hall situation, you've got Justin Fields there in New York now, post Aaron Rodgers, and Breece Hall didn't quite have that breakout season last year. We saw, the Jets look at other running back options as well. There's been rumors, I don't know how true they were, about Breece Hall potentially being shopped, so I wouldn't be touching Breece Hall in the first round. Brian Thomas at 112. We should probably talk about Travis Hunter. We can talk about him now or later, but I'm not all that worried about Travis Hunter. Like, honestly, if I'm ranking the rookie wide receivers, Travis Hunter isn't my number one guy just because I don't think that you can play realistically wide receiver and DB the way he wants to for a full year. Like, at some point, one of those things is going to have to give. And unless the Jags make him a wide receiver for, the entirety of the season, Brian Thomas is still going to be alpha and have the most opportunities. Then Ashton Genty. This is way too late for Genty, in my opinion. I get it. He's a rookie, but he's a rookie running back with prime draft capital and a guy that doesn't really have all that much competition. Geno Smith is there to stabilize that offense for the Raiders, so I like that situation. I think that's really good value. Derrick Henry then at the 202, followed by Drake London, Brock Bowers, Bucky Irving. All these guys going ahead of A-Chain is a little bit surprising. Like, I get it. He's a bit of a home run hitter, but I like I said before, I think he came out of the NFL draft in a decent spot. Then you've got A.J. Brown, and he's a good pass-catching running back as well. So here, I was looking at guys like McCaffrey. I was definitely considering him, A-Chain, and I'm probably going to go A-Chain. Some of these wide receivers that I would be considering, JSN, with Metcalf gone, with Lockett gone, I get it that Cooper Kupp is there now, but he's not quite what he was before. I think I'd potentially get a Garrett Wilson or a Mike Evans or a McLaurin or a Devontae Adams afterwards. So here I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to get the good value. I'm going to go A-Chain. I'm going to continue to build out the roster, and let's just continue to grind it out. So afterwards, McCaffrey, JSN, Tyreek. Yeah, I mean, look, Tyreek was a big disappointment last season. Like, him and Christian McCaffrey, two big names, two big disappointments. So as a result, probably going to see them being drafted somewhere in the second round. Lad McConkey, I'm curious. I'm not quite as high on McConkey as maybe these rankings go. I think that the Chargers might, there's rumors they might bring back Keenan Allen, so we'll see. Josh Jacobs, the 212, okay. DJ Moore, I think this is a little bit too early for DJ Moore. Don't get me wrong. I think the Bears are going to be much better. I think Caleb Williams is going to be a solid full-year fantasy option, but there's too many mouths to feed in Chicago. We saw it last season, and even with Ben Johnson, I don't think that they're going to be able to support quite what you want out of DJ Moore if you're drafting him this early. Then McBride, I really like McBride. He'd be my number one tight end over Brock Bowers. Like, I just have a little bit more faith in him in an offense that I think is going to be pretty good with Kyler Murray there. Jonathan Taylor at the 303. I think it's a really good value. Lamar, 304. First quarterback. Cortland Sutton, 305. I think it's a little too early for Cortland Sutton, even though he did have a pretty good season last year as the year progressed. Now here I'm in an interesting situation. I think T. Higgins is really good value. I think Garrett Wilson is a really good value. But honestly, I lean one of these running backs. I lean either Chase Brown or Kyren Williams. And honestly, I probably go with Chase Brown. I think that Chase Brown is a guy that proved it last season. He's in a more electric offense. He was a league winner. That following the injuries to Moss, like he really had a strong season. I'm going Chase Brown here, and let's see what we have afterwards. Will we get lucky at the wide receiver position? Maybe not. Okay, we had Kyren Williams immediately afterwards, so I was between these two guys at running back. Feel good at my about my running back position right now. H.N. Brown, Justin Jefferson at wide receiver. So Mike Evans, T. Higgins, Josh Allen, second quarterback. Jaden Daniels in the fourth round. Hell yeah. He was a guy that we touted last year for upside. Garrett Wilson, unfortunately, doesn't make it. Neither does Devontae Adams. George Kittle goes here. Start of the fourth, I think a little bit early-ish. Terry McLaurin, good value. James Cook, Jaden Daniels, Joe Mixon, Chuba Hubbard, good values there all around. So now if we're looking at wide receivers, right? Rashee Rice dealing with injuries, so maybe we put a pin in that. Marvin Harrison, I think, it's funny. what 1 year does in terms of differences, right? Like last year, he was being drafted like at the end of the first round, whereas Malik Neighbors like 2 rounds afterwards. And I told you guys, keep an eye out on that. And now, after the season that Neighbors has, he's going in the first round. Marvin Harrison now going in the fourth round. And now it's flipped. I think that Marvin Harrison at this point in time is a good value. Kenneth Walker, Alvin Kamara, I'm not as focused on running back right now, considering my first two picks. Quarterback, I could go with Jalen Hurts. I'm going to wait a little bit, though. Tight ends, like Laporta is still there, Hawkinson. So I'm going to wait on tight end as well. I'm going to go with Marvin Harrison here. I think he's a wide receiver with some nice upside, and I do think he will probably bounce back. So we go with Marvin Harrison, and let's see what has taken place again. So Marvin Harrison, Kenneth Walker, Hawk, Jalen Hurts, Rashee Rice. Ooh, okay. Let's talk about Omarion Hampton here. Because obviously Ashton Genty is the name that everyone's going to gravitate towards in the running back situation as far as rookie running backs go, and that's the easy one. But what's it look like after him, right? Because with Hampton, I think I do like the pick. I think he's very talented. I like the pick as far as long-term Chargers play, but this year for fantasy football purposes, unless there's an injury, I think it's going to be a split backfield here, and I'd probably go elsewhere. Like, I think there were some other, like RJ Harvey in Denver, another guy that had decent draft capital. I'd probably go Harvey over Omarion for what it's worth. Joe Burrow here, getting a stack with him and Chase Brown is pretty tempting in the 5th round. I'm looking at some other wide receivers. Devonta Smith, a bit of a home run hitter. Chris Godwin re-signed in Tampa Bay. Judy. There's interesting names here, right? So let us. I'm probably gonna go Joe Burrow. I just really like getting that stack. It was a deadly stack last year, Burrow and Chase Brown. So I think I'm gonna lean that way, and let's see how this thing pans out. So we're going to go with Joe Burrow, and then we can start maybe looking at tight end, at stuff like that. So Devonta Smith, Chris Godwin, James Conner, Jalen Waddle, George Pickens. Pickens, now part of the Dallas Cowboys. I think he can be a nice number 2 there for Dallas. RJ Harvey, I was really hoping he would fall to us. He would have been an easy selection. Xavier Worthy, Baker Mayfield, Monty, Jerry Jeudy, breakout season last year, Bo Nix, Patrick Mahomes. So now I'm looking at these names. Aaron Jones is interesting in Minnesota. Tony Pollard could be a good value pick. I think Rome Odunze is a sneaky play, like right in PPR. Honestly, wouldn't be surprised if he ends up outproducing DJ Moore, as crazy as that might sound. Looking at some other names here, like DeAndre Swift, the main running back in Chicago. Tyrone Tracy took a bit of a hit with the Scataboot edition, so I'm a little bit worried there. Looking at the tight ends, Jonnu Smith, Ingram, like I've gotten this far. I'm probably just gonna stay pat at tight end, and I'm just going to start getting good value pieces at this point in time. So right now, I'm going to start getting some wide receivers with upside, right? So let's just do that. Let's go to wide receiver. Jordan Addison, Jameson Williams, Ridley, Rome Odunze. Jordan Addison, I think it's a little bit overkill. Like, I get it if JJ gets hurt, but I don't want to put myself in that situation. Jameson Williams, huge upside, bit of a breakout last year, but we'll see. I think Calvin Ridley, with the upgrade that they have at quarterback, is intriguing. So I might lean there. Again, looking at the cheat sheet. Tedero McMillan in Carolina, I think there's just way too many kind of mouths to feed. Brendan Ayuk, I think actually could be the pick here. Deebo Samuel no longer there. Christian McCaffrey, we don't know what's going to happen with his health. So I think that's an interesting pick. Like, I know Juwan Jennings is there. Ricky Pearsall is there, but I think Ayuk is the most proven out of all those guys. So honestly, I'm going to go Brendan Ayuk here. I think is a little bit of a good value pick. So let's do that and then see what happens afterwards. Some more rookie running backs, I believe, went. So Jordan Addison, Travion Henderson for New England, Ramondre Stevenson, RIP, Aaron Jones, Jared Goff, Roman Dunze, there goes a Dunze, Herbert, Jameson Williams, Pacheco, Stephon Diggs. In New England, he is the number one, but age, injuries does worry me a bit. Tony Pollard, I think, like at this point in time, probably just becomes a good value pick. Calvin Ridley's still there. Jacoby Myers, decent value pick, like in full PPR. I think he'll be pretty decent. So I'm looking at Pollard. I'm looking at DeAndre Swift. If I can do it, I'd like to get both of them. The Steelers added rookie running back help, so Jalen Warren a little bit. Cold water being thrown on that. I'm probably going to go DeAndre Swift. I like that offense for Chicago more so than that of Tennessee. So let's go with DeAndre Swift. And now let's see what we have left available to us, right? Tight end, I've kind of punted on tight end. I can wait. Jonnu Smith was like a big-time dude last year in Miami. I don't know how much that will be the case this year. I feel like with Jonnu Smith, it's one of those situations where it's like every couple of years. At wide receiver, Cooper Kupp, I think, is intriguing. Jaden Reed. But honestly, right now, I'm going to just continue to load up on some of these guys. Washington, I think Brian Robinson could be like a solid, like low-end running back too, like he was last year, as long as he's healthy. So probably go there, continue to add some names, especially when, you know the running back position, there's injuries there all the time. So let's go Brian Robinson. And we've got a couple more picks, and we're going to be able to wrap this thing up. So again, here just kind of checking out the draft board. After we went Brian Robinson, Javonte Williams, Najee Harris. Javonte Williams not part of the Cowboys, but crowded backfield there. Najee Harris with the Chargers, obviously. That's why I think that O'Marion Hampton pick a little bit forced. Josh Downs, Charbonnet, Pearsall, Igbuka for Tampa Bay, Ramondre, Jonnu Smith, Etienne, Evan Ingram. Njoku is there. Man, the old dudes at tight end, Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews, RIP, right? I think that, we've gotten to the point where Kelce, this is probably his last year, not going to be as involved. So tough to trust that. Mark Andrews, it's just like, it's Zay Flowers, it's other guys. He's way too inconsistent. I probably lean David Njoku here, as crazy as that might sound, but that's kind of my mindset at this point. So yeah, let's add a David Njoku. I know that that room is pretty, quarterback room is pretty crazy, but I think whoever emerges there, that Njoku is going to be a solid weapon for him. Austin Eckler here, a good PPR option, especially if something happens to Brian Robinson, then even more so. So, Cooper Kupp is still there. Honestly, I'm going to take a shot on Cooper Kupp, number 2 in Seattle now. That'll probably mean we miss out on Eckler, because there's been a huge run on those running backs. After we went Njoku is a lot of tight ends, Justin Fields, and then a bunch of running backs. So I'm going to go with, I want to get some more wide receiver depth. So I'm going to get Cooper Kupp. I think having him as a bench play is decent. So doesn't have to be a starter for us, right? That's the main thing. Now we have, 2 more picks to make. So let's wrap this thing up and see what would be good selections at this point in time. Grendo's interesting, like if something happens with Christian McCaffrey, right? You could go a high upside quarterback. Caleb Williams could be a guy that he breaks out with Ben Johnson, so intriguing. These other names, tough to get excited about at the running back position. At wide receiver, I'm looking at some of these names, and I mean, there's going to be values, right? Like Darnell Mooney from time to time, Christian Kirk. They added a lot of weapons there in Houston via the draft. I think Rashid Shaheed probably would be the guy that I'd be looking at. Thielen, just a lot of mouths to feed in Carolina, so no thank you. Honestly, I'd probably go. I'd take a shot here um, on Garendo, and then we're gonna go with a quarterback just to finish it off, a guy that I think can break out if he's still there, and Caleb Williams. If not, that's fine. Yeah, he's still there. So let's just do that. Let's wrap this thing up. I'm curious to see the grade that we will get. I'm not really all too worried, honestly. It's like I said, it's still early on. We get an A- grade. I actually do like this draft for what it's worth. I wanted to take my time a little bit more so. We haven't done one of these mock drafts in a while, so I wanted to go pick by pick and give you guys a little bit more input for these selections. But, I mean, we got the stack. We got a good quarterback. We've got two heavy pass catching running backs. Like, I bet you $1 million that this is not going to be a roster that you're able to make come August, come September. So all things considered, bookmark this bad boy. I bet you this looks even better a couple months from now. So I like what we were able to do, but hey, let me know your thoughts in the comments section. If you enjoyed, hit that like button, subscribe. Again, give us a follow on X, Twitter at AllDayPigskin to continue interacting with us there. But in the meantime, we'll see you guys in future videos.